Chapter 61 The wind of a young man galloping is more precious than gold. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Master, is Go Shengzi really not coming with us? Gu Jia was packing her luggage and making final confirmations. We are moving, and the moving company's car can't drive that fast. And I read the admission notice. It seems that the military academy has some kind of entrance test. It would be better for Go Shengzi to take a step first and check out the situation. Okay then. Gu Jia still didn't want to be separated from his junior brother, even if they were in the same city. Don't be disappointed. At worst, when you are 16, you will also enroll in the military academy and become your junior brother's junior sister. Guan Shan felt that the master's words were a bit strange, but he didn't seem to have anything wrong with them. Wear this. If you are in danger, just tear it off. Master will come to save you no matter where you are. You and Jia, one person each. Lu Changsheng said as he handed a slender silver necklace into Guan Shan's hands. Gu Jia grabbed the necklace around her neck as if to show off and waved it towards Guan Shan. This is a high-end item that Lu Changsheng redeemed in the system, disposable props. It cost Lu Changsheng 1,000 mall coins. As long as he breaks the necklace, Lu Changsheng can locate his apprentice and teleport directly to him. With this life-saving talisman, Lu Changsheng can really rest assured and let his apprentice wander the world alone. Guan Shan clenched the necklace in his hand and took a deep look at his master. There was a lump in my throat. Don't be stunned, the car to pick you up is here. Lu Changsheng waved his hand and looked back. The familiar roar came from far away. A pink convertible car slowly drove up to the front of the store. Have you changed cars again? The people from the Hunter Guild are really big-timers. Lu Changsheng raised his head, looked at the oncoming car, and expressed strong condemnation of Hongye's extravagant behavior. The hood was opened, and the person sitting in the car was not Hongye, but he was still an acquaintance. Hello, the top spot, this way, this way. Liang Yusen waved her hands enthusiastically towards Guan Shan. In an imaginary world, you can get a driver's license at the age of 16, please do not imitate. Sister Hongye is not free today. She asked me to pick you up. It just so happens that I am also enrolled in the military academy. We will be classmates in the future. When the time comes, I will assist and you will attack. We will conquer the city one by one. We will soon become famous. Guan Shan looked at Lu Changsheng with some embarrassment. Seeing his master nodding, he threw his luggage into the car, turned over and sat on it, and started chatting. Where's Wang Sheng? Did he apply for military school? Liang Yusen chuckled and said, that boy from the Wang family must be from a military academy. If he dares to apply for another school, his grandfather will have his legs broken. I heard that after I was defeated by you, I felt depressed for a while. Then I ran to the front line for some reason, as if to sharpen my mind or something. When the time comes to sign up, we will meet you. I'm about to break through the 3rd level. I'll have a fight with him then. If I can't beat him, you have to help me. Guan Shan is a little strange. Why do you have such a big opinion against Wang Sheng? Has he offended you? Liang Yusen curled her lips. Who knows that boy is Wang Shilong's grandson? If my father and Wang Shilong don't deal with each other, of course the daughter has to stand up for her father. That what Liang Yusen said made sense, but Guan Shan couldn't refute it for a moment. Okay, you will have many opportunities to chat in the future, so hurry up and get going. When you arrive at school, remember to report to master first that you are safe. Lu Changsheng reminded. Be careful on the road. He and Gu Jia raised their hands high and waved them vigorously. Guan Shan nodded, turned around and thanked Liang Yusen. Thank you for your hard work, let's set off. Liang Yusen took out a pair of cool sunglasses and put them on, grinned, and stepped on the accelerator. The violent roar of the sports car sounded again, waking up the neighbors who had not yet gotten up. However, the pink beast did not move even a little bit. Lu Changsheng and Gu Jia's hands were awkwardly hanging in the air, and they couldn't put them down, so they could only continue to wave. Boom, another roar sounded, but the sports car still didn't move. Did you put the gear in first and then step on the accelerator? Guan Shan reminded politely. Oh, yes, yes. Liang Yusin said with a look of sudden realization, the gear shift must be steady to start, and the clutch and accelerator must be coordinated. Gently lift the clutch and slow down the gas, and you will be sure to start steadily. This sports car of yours has an automatic transmission. After all, Guan Shan was born into a serious second-generation rich man, and he had seen sports cars before. Don't rush. I know. Liang Yusin flicked the shift paddles fiercely and stepped on the accelerator again. The sports car roared back and almost knocked away Lu Changsheng, who was waving his hand. Lu Changsheng was so frightened that he quickly protected Gu Jia behind him. The scene suddenly became awkward. Well, if you can't do it, I can do it. Guan Shan pressed his lips hard and said while suppressing a smile. Don't worry. I got my driver's license yesterday. I'll be fine. Liang Yusin's face was already blushing under her sunglasses, but her tone was still very strong. She switched the pick skillfully and confidently. Then, the wiper blade started to swing click and click. How about, let me try instead? Guan Shan said softly, trying not to make the other person feel that he was teasing. No need. Liang Yusin only felt that her ears were a little hot. You can do it, Xin. Didn't you drive all the way here just now? Believe in yourself. You can do it, Xin. Liang Yusin kept encouraging herself in her heart, and finally found the right gear, and gently stepped on the accelerator. The sports car drove forward honestly, and she shouted excitedly. Oh! Go, go! Move towards your dream. Next to the sports car, an old lady passed by with a cane, muttering dissatisfiedly, now these profiteers, the sound of the car is getting louder and louder, and the speed is getting slower and slower, just to deceive you young people. Lu Changsheng covered his face with one hand, and couldn't bear to watch. According to Liang Yusin's speed, when the two of them drive there, they can probably enroll with the new students next year. Thinking that he would be classmates with the other party for the next few years, Guan Shan still kindly reminded him. Well, how about we take the high-speed train? We should be able to book tickets now, so we can make it in time. If it doesn't work, the train isn't that slow. In response, Liang Yusin stepped on the floor gas pedal. The sports car rushed out like a wild horse. The huge push pressed the two firmly on the back of the chair. After the initial swaying from side to side, which scared several passers-by, it finally sped smoothly. Oh! This time we are really heading towards our dreams. Guan Shan subconsciously grabbed the handrail and reminded. Wipers! Wipers! Liang Yusin looked excited and ignored the flying wipers. No matter. Just heading towards our dreams. Oh! Influenced by Liang Yusin, Guan Shan also accepted his fate. He smiled self-deprecatingly, raised his hands and shouted. Go towards our dreams. The oncoming wind pressure messed up the hair on their foreheads. The young man walked against the wind, singing and dancing, ascending the road to heaven or a dead end. No one cared. The road ahead was smooth. Lu Changsheng listened to the laughter coming from afar and looked at the figure of his apprentice walking away, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. For some reason, he suddenly remembered a sentence. The wind that the young man galloped in was more precious than gold. Chapter 62 I don't want to die in front of you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The pink sports car is still speeding on the road. Search TWKAN on Google. The sound of the wiper is getting smaller and smaller, and the swing is not as fast as it was at the beginning. It must be tired. Don't turn at the fork in front of the road. Go straight. We should be able to enter Yaoguang City in an hour. Guan Shan stared at the navigation and acted as an announcer. Okay. Liang Yusin felt that she could perfectly control the mount under her, and she stepped on the accelerator proudly. The roar of the sports car is still there, it's just not as grumpy as it was at the beginning. Maybe it didn't expect that one day, as a powerful tool for showing off, one day it would run long distances. Ding dong! A text message from Military Academy attracted Guan Shan's attention. It was a download link for an app, and Guan Shan downloaded and opened it. The original interface, ugly icons, and if it weren't for the fact that the caller ID of the text message was correct, Guan Shan would have thought he had downloaded a scam software. Welcome all freshmen of the 197th class to enroll. As your assessor, I have specially prepared a warm-up program for you. Please pay attention to check. After closing the pop-up window that flew out with the app, Guan Shan clicked the only red button on the screen. A simple map appeared in front of him, with many red dots flashing densely on it. The military academy released 100 ghouls around Yaoguang City. Invite freshmen from the 197th class to eliminate all demon clans according to the map display. Limited to 24 hours. There are still ghouls alive after the time limit. Even if there is only one. All members of the 197th class will be disqualified from registration. Come on, dear freshmen. Fuck. Stop the car. Stop the car quickly. Following Guan Shan's roar, the sports car suddenly stopped on the side of the road, dragging 2 long black marks on the ground, and the turn signal turned on randomly. Sometimes it turns left, sometimes it turns right, and it takes a long time to close. You're crazy. What are you yelling at? Liang Yusin took off her sunglasses and glared at Guan Shan angrily. What she hates most is that when driving, the person next to her gives her blind orders. Stop talking, read the text message, hurry up. Guan Shan had no time to pay attention to Liang Yusin, and compared the map on the screen to confirm the position of himself and the target. You'd better be in trouble. Liang Yusin mumbled and turned on her phone. Soon, her expression changed drastically, and she was a little panicked. A string of memories suddenly appeared in her mind. Ghoul, the miscellaneous soldier in the demon army, usually does not exceed the 3rd level. Ghouls resemble humans in appearance, slightly shorter, with dark skin and a cruel personality, extremely strong endurance and extremely low intelligence. The key is to make a living. Just throw in a few corpses and they'll have a feast, and when hungry, they don't mind eating their own kind, extremely obedient to orders. Without orders, it will wander around aimlessly. Once it sees a creature weaker than itself, whether human or demon, it will instantly go crazy and tear it into pieces. Hurry up and get going. Liang Yusin became anxious as she watched the countdown end. Guan Shan stopped her with a wave of his hand, pointed at the screen and said, "Wait a minute, the red dots have started to disappear. Someone is faster than us." Guan Shan pointed to the densest circle of red dots on the screen and said, "Go here." Liang Yusin stepped on the accelerator and turned the steering wheel so hard that the car almost overturned. The sports car turned around on the spot and rushed forward. Outside the tall city walls of Yaoguang City, 4 ghouls were wandering aimlessly on the roadside. With their small brains, it is difficult for them to understand why they were working on the front line a few days ago when a gust of black wind blew and they came to this strange place. There is no one to give orders, so they can only wander around in boredom. Boom, boom. The roar of the sports car came from far to near. The ghouls stared blankly at the fast-moving iron lump, and one of them moved forward curiously. 2 humans got off the iron lump. Human, it's food. The ghoul's dull eyes suddenly became fierce. His staggering body suddenly straightened up. He bent his knees and bent over, and charged forward with his legs, all in one go. Unfortunately, before it even took 2 steps, it fell to the ground with a thud. Several strands of silver-white silk threads wrapped around his ankles at some point, and the strength became stronger and stronger, almost cutting off his ankles. This is only the 3rd level. My powers are endless. To the top of the list, come on. Liang Yusin raised her palm lightly and hung the ghoul upside down. More silver-white silk threads fell from the sky and wrapped it like a meat dumpling. The ghoul swung wildly and roared. The ghoul behind it heard the call of its companion, and at the same time, its pupils turned red, its animalistic nature aroused, and it rushed towards the Guan Shan too. My powers can't kill 4 of them at the same time. First of all, give them a shot. It's the last move in the qualifying round, the super cool move. Guan Shan jumped out from the roof of the car and drew the 10,000 God sword from the void. Ignoring Liang Yusin's request, he stepped forward and stabbed the ghoul suspended in the air. The sword body penetrated the body, bringing out bursts of smelly black blood. Guan Shan swung his sword backhand, trying to cut the ghoul in half, but found that the 10,000 God sword was firmly stuck in the ghoul's ribs and could not move at all. The ghoul was hit by the sword and became more violent. Under the stimulation of blood, the 3 ghouls moved a little faster. The tied ghoul was about to break free from Liang Yusin's control. The power is a little short. I remember you can boost yourself. Can you boost me? Guan Shan spoke quickly, staring at the ghoul that was about to rush in front of him. Okay. Liang Yusen waved again, and a much thicker silver thread fell from the sky and connected to the back of Guan Shan's head. Guan Shan felt that all his limbs were shaken, and the power continued to flow out. He swung his sword fiercely, cutting the ghoul in front of him in half. The ghoul in front of him was also close at hand. He had no time to make up the knife, and immediately raised his sword to meet it, with Guan Shan as the center. Frost quickly floated on the ground around. The movements of the three ghouls all froze, revealing a big flaw. Guan Shan pierced one of them with a sword, blood splattered. He stepped back, dodged the sharp claws attacking from the side, and swung his sword horizontally, cutting off the left claw of the second ghoul. The ghoul fell to the ground, and in the piercing pain, it couldn't help but roar. Fortunately, the pain didn't last too long. A long sword with a cold light pierced its head. Within a few seconds, Guan Shan solved the three ghouls. The only remaining ghoul didn't know what fear was. Instead, it was aroused by the death of its companion. It completely ignored defense and rushed forward, not afraid of the sharp cold light. Guan Shan would not risk his life with a mad dog. He dodged lightly and sideways. The 10,000 god sword turned his wrist and cut across, fiercely cutting off a large piece of meat from the waist of the ghoul. The ghoul did not stop at all, completely ignoring its own injuries, accelerated again, and rushed towards the girl in front of the car. Oh no! Is its target Liang Yusen? That this thought just flashed through Guan Shan's mind, and the ghoul had already rushed to Liang Yusen. Just one more step, she could be torn into pieces, but this last step, he just couldn't take it no matter what. Countless silver-white threads entangled and gathered, firmly fixing it. A dagger pierced its eye socket, penetrated the brain, and smashed its already small head into pieces. I just don't want to get my clothes dirty. Do you really think I'm a soft persimmon? Liang Yusen wiped the black blood splashed on her face and complained to Guan Shan unhappily. And you? You can just use your ultimate to kill them instantly. Why do you make so much trouble? It's so thrilling, isn't it a waste of effort? Guan Shan stabbed each ghoul with a knife, and after confirming that they were completely dead, he waved his hand to disperse the 10,000 swords. Because I don't want to die in front of you. After saying that, he climbed onto the car and looked for the next nearest red Liang Yusen. Chapter 63 Waiting for the show to begin. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside Yaoguang City, inside an abandoned factory, a ghoul with a broken arm waved its sharp claws to kill the curly-haired boy in front of it. There were two similar ones beside it, staring at the target eagerly. Be careful. Injured ghouls will become more violent. Behind the boy, a female voice reminded anxiously. Rest assured. Sand pool. As the boy's voice fell, the ghoul that was rushing towards him took a step and fell to the ground. Search TWKAN on Google. The originally solid concrete floor turned into soft sand at some point. The ghoul waved its claws angrily, trying to get out of the sand pool, but fell deeper and deeper. Little sister, hurry up and chop off its head. The boy shouted, as if in response to his words. A figure fell from the sky, and the sword instantly pierced the ghoul's head, and blood and brains were scattered all over the place. There was a thin layer of frost on the soft sand, and Guan Shan stood firmly on it. The two siblings were stunned. Who is this person? Don't be afraid. I'm here to help you. Guan Shan jumped up and flew an exaggerated distance of more than 10 meters, as if there was a wire hanging behind him. The remaining two ghouls tried to resist, but they only felt that their limbs were stiff and their movements could not keep up with the incoming sword light. Another sword pierced through. The siblings finally reacted. He's here to steal someone's head. Fuck. You don't have martial ethics. Who wants your help? The curly-haired boy was anxious. It took them a long time to trap the three ghouls. They were about to harvest, but a peach-picking thief appeared on the way. In his anger, he didn't even bother to set up a trap, and all his superpowers exploded, heading straight towards the ghoul. The ghoul looked at the three people who were attacking and had some doubts in his heart for some reason. Why are the eyes of these humans glowing green when they look at me? Shouldn't ordinary humans be afraid when they see themselves? Am I a monster, or are they monsters? Fortunately, Guan Shan's hands were quick and he didn't let it bother him for too long. With a slash of the sword, the neck that was already frozen and stiff was broken. The ghoul was left with a broken wound mixed with ice and black blood, and he lay down straight. Grass. Who are you? These three are our prey. Guan Shan ignored their complaints, waving towards the door. Liang Yusin understood and waved her hand back. The silver thread swayed in the air and pulled Guan Shan back to the passenger seat. You're welcome. This is what we should do. The roar of the sports car covered up the curses behind her. Liang Yusin kicked the floor and turned around to leave, except for the poor wiper that was still swinging feebly. All the movements were done in one go. Why are you trying to steal their heads? Liang Yusin glanced at the rearview mirror, saw two angry faces, and asked with some confusion. I just think this assessment task is a bit strange. While confirming the position of the cursor, Guan Shan replied, tomorrow is the deadline for registration, and the tasks for the military academy will be handed out at this time. Obviously they wanted to make a surprise attack. If we get rid of all the ghouls, wouldn't the new students who come later enjoy the fruits of their labor? Or if you encounter a freshman who is just trying to catch a fish, if he doesn't do anything and just waits for others to complete the task, wouldn't he be able to pass the test? I think this is not in line with the style of a military academy and does not serve as a test. Liang Yusin nodded in agreement. Guan Shan continued, so, I think killing all these ghouls is only the first step. Killing the heads will definitely affect the subsequent assessment results. And it should get harder and harder from now on. There are too many monks and too little rice. Liang Yusin was convinced. She hit the accelerator and sped up a bit more. In Yaoguang City, a taxi stopped slowly, followed by a slow truck. Lu Changsheng looked at the empty stores on the roadside. The front door is spacious and the lighting is good. The key is that the internal layout is clear and the residents in operation are balanced. It doesn't even require extra decoration. You can move in directly. Lu Changsheng walked into the store, glanced around, nodded with satisfaction, and turned back to ask Gu Jia. Jia, this is our new home. Do you like it? Gu Jia hugged her master's favorite folding chair, found a cool place to put it down, and smiled happily. Wherever the master is, that is my home. I love so much. Lu Changsheng touched Gu Jia's head and walked around the store happily. The more he looked at it, the more satisfied he became. It was not in vain that he spent a huge sum of money to win it. When Lu Changsheng thought of the long string of zeros on the rent column, he felt a severe pain in his body. Boss Lu, your new store is much more stylish than the original one. A familiar voice came from outside the store. Sister Hongye. Gu Jia was a little surprised to meet an acquaintance after just arriving in a strange environment. Hongye. Why are you here in Yaoguang City? Lu Changsheng turned around and asked while instructing the workers to move the furniture. I have been transferred to the Hunter Guild headquarters. I can continue to hug your lap, Boss Lu. Don't forget to call me if you have a big deal. Hongye took the drink from Gu Jia, her eyebrows curved into a crescent. By the way, have you reached Guanshan? I heard that it's quite difficult to get into the military academy. You can't just get in after receiving a notice. The way they assess new students is quite barbaric. Lu Changsheng took out his phone and glanced at it, but he didn't receive any message from his apprentice. I guess he was delayed on the way. He went with the girl from the Liang family. Her driving skills. You should understand. Hongye covered her mouth and chuckled, but didn't say anything. After we pack up the furniture, let's go to the military academy together. I saw the GG brand on the way here. It seems that there are audience seats at the entrance of the military academy. A few little ghosts are enrolled. I don't know what's good to see. Although Lu Changsheng said that there was nothing to see, his hands moved faster and faster. Yaoguang City Military Academy. It was not as magnificent as Lu Changsheng imagined, but a little sloppy. Except for two white jade pillars standing at the door, there was no decoration. Looking around, rows of military camps were connected, and patrolling soldiers passed by from time to time. Rather than saying this is a school, it is actually more like a forward base. Lu Changsheng, holding a popsicle in his mouth, finally squeezed through the crowd and found Hongye and Gu Jia. After handing each of them a popsicle, Lu Changsheng said, "What's going on? Why are there so many people? It's like this every year. My father brought me to see it when I was a child." Hongye took the popsicle and pointed to the screen on the gate of the military academy. "The countdown is almost over and it will start soon." Lu Changsheng looked around, and the streets were full of hawkers hawking. A large number of reporters arrived at the scene early, set up long guns and short guns, and faced the gate of the military academy. The most exaggerated thing is that there was actually a large group of cheerleaders wearing the same uniform and holding up a large banner. It was written with a few big words, "Yang Chao Supporters Association." Lu Changsheng was a little dazed for a while. "I thought I had walked into the wrong place and entered a celebrities' concert." He looked at the gate again. Demon Slayer Military Academy, 5 big characters, vigorous and powerful, every word is sharp. "I didn't come to the wrong place." Lu Changsheng complained in his heart. In fact, such scenes happen every year. All major universities will organize welcome ceremonies to show their best seedlings. However, the welcome ceremony of the Demon Slayer Military Academy is always the most watched. Everyone knows that those who can enter the Demon Slayer Military Academy are all the top geniuses of the human race, representing the strongest of the younger generation. Everyone wants to know how heroic the future of the human race will be. Today, it seems that all the attention of the human race is focused here, waiting for the show to begin. Chapter 64, Only 1 out of 10 survives. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the countdown dries up, the numbers get smaller and smaller. The first new student to register this year was finally welcomed outside the military academy. Wang Xing changed out of his stylish shirt and put on a sharp outfit. He calmly crossed the crowd and stood at the gathering place for freshmen outside the school gate. Compared with the last time, Lu Changsheng clearly felt that Wang Xing's temperament had undergone some changes, less sharp-edged and more reserved. The clothes on his body were damaged in many places, and the large areas of blood stains had not completely solidified. Wang Xing stood quietly without saying a word. 5 minutes later, a pink sports car roared towards me. The strange thing was that even though it wasn't raining, the wiper in front of the car kept swaying. The roaring sports car, just in front of everyone, rushed in through the gate. I have absolutely no intention of stopping. During a minute of silence, the sports car slowly backed out. Liang Yusin was already sitting in the passenger seat, wearing a pair of extremely large sunglasses that almost covered half of her face. "Long time no see." Wang Xing said calmly, neither humble nor overbearing. Guan Shan nodded and stood beside him silently. No one could see Liang Yusin's expression clearly, but they felt that her walking posture seemed a little unnatural. New students arrived one after another. The simple gathering place was quickly filled with people. "Hey! You thief! You're shameless! Let's see where you can run now." That the curly-haired boy became angry the moment he saw Guan Shan. Guan Shan was not the only one to see through the hidden mission. He also realized that there was no explicit assessment content in this mission. Naturally, he would not have a good look on a human-headed dog like Guan Shan who had no martial ethics. "Brother, forget it, it's not appropriate to do anything here." The girl's face was still stained with freckles, and she looked harmless. "If you want to take action, you have to wait until you pass the entrance examination. Who knows, it was us who made the sack." The curly-haired boy snorted heavily and accepted his sister's proposal. At this moment, huge screams and deafening cheers suddenly erupted from the audience. A young man in colorful clothes waved his hands and slowly walked through the crowd, just like a big star meeting his fans. "Holy shit, who is this? So powerful. Is this a guest performer invited by the military academy?" Lu Changsheng asked with some confusion. "Boss Lu, don't you usually read Gu Jia's entertainment gossip section?" Lu Changsheng shook his head. Hongye started to learn more about it. "That child's name is Yang Chao, and he is the younger brother of Yang Guangxiu, the current master of Jubao Pavilion. Handsome and rich, he is still the first in Yaoguang City this year. It is normal for some little girls to be obsessed with him." Rich second generation. Lu Changsheng nodded and stopped paying attention. There are only 5 minutes left in the countdown. There are no new students coming. No one in their right mind would be late for such an important occasion. The freshmen gathered in a circle, all in different shapes, some of them were well dressed, and it was obvious at first glance that they came from a famous family. Their clothing was exquisite in details, and their eyes were full of superior contempt. Some of them were in rags, with faint blood stains on their bodies. They were in extremely embarrassed condition, with a look of shock on their faces. As the countdown ended, a cold broadcast suddenly sounded, Wang Xing Guanshan Liang Yusin Yang Chao Xiao Jiang Xiao Xiao He Long, He Jiayan. The above 8 people will stay, and everyone else will be eliminated. If you need to reimburse the fare, please log into the official website of the military academy and attach the invoice voucher. The cold radio sound was like thunder on the ground. The crowd immediately went crazy. Those who can stand here are not the geniuses of each province, and there are even many who are number 1. He was eliminated in such an inexplicable way. Who can be convinced? I'm not convinced. Why? A shady story. I'm going to the Demon Slayer department to sue you. It's definitely a shady story. At least you need to give me a reasonable reason. Otherwise, I won't accept it. Zhuang Dongjie, the cold broadcast sounded again. One of the most yelling young men in the crowd suddenly froze and looked up at the big screen above his head. On the screen was a video of him walking leisurely. Zhuang Dongjie didn't even know when he was secretly filmed. I arrived at Yaoguang City 12 hours ago. After receiving the assessment prompt, I did not take any action. It was determined that the assessment failed. Do you still have questions? When I arrived, the mission was already halfway through, and there were only a few ghouls left. By the time I arrived at the target location, they had already been killed. There was no way I could complete the mission. Such an assessment is simply unreasonable. I don't accept it. Zhuang Dongjie roared at the top of his lungs, with a look of unwillingness on his face. The other eliminated freshmen also understood the problem. They either arrived too late to catch up with the task, or they thought that everyone else had already killed them all, so there was no need for them to take action. None of the ghouls were killed. In the spirit of the rabbit's death and the fox's sorrow, they all supported Zhuang Dongjie, shouting that it was unfair and demanding a re-evaluation. The military academy trains future commanders, and what our students will face in the future will be thousands of demonic armies. You can say you are late today and missed the deadline. Can you discuss with the demon clan tomorrow and wait until you arrive before launching a charge? The video on the big screen switched again, splitting into 2 parts. In the left picture, the 8 people who stayed behind were fighting fiercely with the ghouls, with blood splattering and thrilling. In the right picture, a group of freshmen were leisurely rushing on the road, and some were still talking and laughing with their friends around them, looking like they were enjoying a peaceful life. The broadcast did not continue to speak, and silence was better than words at this time. The onlookers booed a lot. If it weren't for the staff of the Demon Slayer department standing on both sides of the road to maintain order, rotten eggs and banana peels would probably be thrown in. Zhuang Dongjie's face turned red instantly, and he felt that his ears were burning. He clenched his fists tightly and couldn't say a word. A group of eliminated students left the scene in a daze, no longer as spirited as before. The scene of leaving the scene in a mess today was deeply engraved in their minds and could never be erased. There are 84 freshmen in the 197th class of the Demon Slayer Department Military Academy. In just the first round of assessment, 76 people were eliminated. It can be said that only 1 in 10 survived. Lu Changsheng looked at the audience around him. It seemed that no one showed an incredible expression, only he opened his mouth blankly. The elimination rate of the Demon Slayer Military Academy has always been so high. Hongyan nodded and explained patiently, the Demon Slayer Military Academy is notoriously difficult to enroll and graduate. It is not uncommon for all freshmen to be eliminated in a class. This is the only academy that evaluates performance based on military merit. If you want to graduate from here, it is impossible without killing a certain number of demons. Lu Changsheng looked at the cold big screen and couldn't help but tsk twice. Go Xingzi should be considered to have passed the assessment, right? Well, after the freshman welcome ceremony is over, he will be a formal military academy student. Hongye pointed to the gate of the military academy and said, Boss Lu, look, the welcome ceremony has begun. Lu Changsheng looked in the direction of Hongye's finger. A huge hound slowly walked out of the gate. Every step it took would leave a circle of flames on the ground. The hound's neck was unusually huge, and its two ferocious dog heads were baring their teeth and growling. The saliva fell between its sharp teeth, and was instantly melted into mist by the high temperature of its body. The pressure of the peak of the fourth level slowly enveloped the 8 people left behind as it moved. Guan Shan and others were tense all over, and instantly felt like they were facing a great enemy. Chapter 65 Freshman Welcome Party. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The cold broadcast sounded again. The welcome party for the 197th freshman has officially begun. This year's host is Senior Xiaohei. Friendly reminder, the welcome party will last for 5 minutes. Finally, I wish all the human race geniuses to meet at the top one day. As the broadcast ended, the crowd burst into earth-shaking cheers. Every audience member raised their arms excitedly and waved them vigorously. This made Lu Changsheng look confused. Hey, Hongye, what does this mean? Surrounded by enthusiastic people, Lu Changsheng had to shout to make Hongye hear clearly. Did you see that hellhound? The freshmen have to hold on for 5 minutes under its hands. You can think of it as a show match. Lu Changsheng understood, but still asked with some concern, no one should die, right? No one has died in several years, so it shouldn't happen, but there are disabled people every year. I say, Boss Lu, when you have time, you can also check out the entertainment gossip section of Gu Jia. These news are basically there. It shouldn't, what does it mean? Lu Changsheng was stunned, looking at the excited audience around him. He felt like he was back in the ancient Roman arena. The people of Yaoguang City are really so fanatical. The countdown on the big screen lit up. 30, 29, 28. The two-headed hellhound stared at Guan Shan and others, waiting patiently. We can't kill a 4th-level peak demon. The body energy is too strong. We can only outsmart it. Wang Sheng looked at everyone and spoke quickly. The hellhound's attack and defense are extremely high, but its movement speed is slightly inferior. Our only strategy is to delay. Liang family girl, the fight will start soon. Don't increase your own strength. Control the hellhound with all your strength. Don't tie it up. If you can't tie it up, use interference as the main method. Although Liang Yusen was unhappy with Wang Sheng, she knew that it was not the time to attack when facing a powerful enemy, so she nodded silently. Who else has the ability to restrict? Hurry. Me. The curly-haired boy Qiao Jiang answered, I am a fusion system, I can change the terrain, but the conversion speed is definitely not as fast as the hellhound. I can only set traps around us, which may not be able to trap it. No, that will limit our own movement. You just need to keep setting traps around the two-headed dog to interfere with its movement. We can't passively take a beating, we must take the initiative to attack. That there was no fear in Wang Sheng's eyes. The experience on the front line completely changed his mind. Many times, fighting is to do it knowing that it is impossible, and to seek a ray of light in thousands of dead ends. The brave wins when they meet on a narrow road. Is there anyone else who is good at close combat? Hurry up. Time is running out. Freckle girl Qiao Xiaohui stretched out one hand, turned her wrist and grabbed a red tasseled spear, swung a beautiful spear flower and held the spear horizontally in front of her, and said coldly, I can do it. I can do it too. Yang Chao tapped the golden belt on his waist, and 3 weird-looking puppets appeared out of thin air, monkey, with sharp teeth and claws, a hunched back, long arms and short legs, a rhino, with hard skin and thick armor, and mottled old bloodstains on its thick rhino horns, full of murderous intent, a huge falcon, with iron-like wings as sharp as a blade, emitting a cold light. Count me in. Guan Shan and Wang Sheng are old acquaintances, and there is no need to show their abilities. They just draw out the 10,000 god sword and wait quietly. Well, Guan Shan, don't use that trick of yours at the beginning. I will find a way to create an opportunity for you. Wait for my signal. Guan Shan nodded to Wang Sheng. Qiao Xiaohui saw Guan Shan's 10,000 god sword from the corner of her eyes, looked at it curiously, and soon focused her attention on the two-headed dog. "What about you two? What abilities do you have?" Wang Xing asked anxiously. "No, are you really going to fight? That's a two-headed hellhound, at least level 4, and judging from the strength of the supernatural power it just released, it's at the peak of level 4. Shouldn't we run away with all our strength? If we really fight, we'll die." He Long's voice trembled a little. "Yeah, the broadcast didn't say we were going to defeat it, right? Shouldn't the best strategy be to run away separately? It's only 5 minutes, and you also said that the hellhound's speed is not its strong point." Jia Heyun's heart was pounding. Although the fight hadn't started yet, the atmosphere on the scene had already made it difficult for him to breathe. Wang Xing was stunned. He had never considered the strategy of running away from the beginning, and he didn't expect that the freshman who could get to this point would actually have such a naive idea. 6.5 Wang Xing looked at He Long and Jia Heyun with contempt and said calmly, "You can run away. Can the human race run away? You ran away today, and you ran away tomorrow, but there will always be a day. You will have nowhere to run." After saying that, he used all his supernatural powers and stared at the hellhound, ignoring the two people behind him. Yang Chao quietly squeezed to Guan Shan's side and lowered his voice, "Master Guan, if the fight starts, let my puppets go first. They are stronger than ordinary third-level awakeners." Looking at the handsome boy in front of him, Guan Shan's mind suddenly remembered the little follower who followed him every day, and his brother who was always respectful to him. "You recognized the wrong person," Guan Shan said coldly. "Guan Shan of Jubao Pavilion is dead. I am Guan Shan of Changsheng Hall. Changsheng Hall, there is no young master. Young master can disown me, but I cannot disown young master. I will control the puppet to protect young master." Yang Chao nodded slightly and took 2 steps back. 2.1.459. As the countdown started, the two-headed hellhound stood on all fours, raised its 2 huge heads high, and roared. The pressure of the 4th-level peak accurately covered the heads of the 8 freshmen. Everyone felt as if they were under 1,000 pounds. In an instant, the formation was in chaos. The originally agreed tactics had not yet been implemented, but they were caught off guard by the hellhound. "Is this the beginning?" Lu Changsheng looked at the freshmen, all of whom were pale and constipated, and looked at Hongye with some confusion. He did not feel any energy fluctuations. "Well, the demon race has much stronger control over demon power than humans. They can accurately release pressure at the 4th level. Not only does it consume less energy, but it is also more powerful. To achieve the same level, humans must at least reach the peak of the 6th level. This year's two-headed hellhound is the most powerful demon race in recent years. Guanshan and his friends will suffer." As if to confirm Hongye's words, the two-headed hellhound took a deep breath and exhaled violently. 2 huge fireballs flew out with intense heat and headed straight for everyone. "Xiao Jiang!" Wang Xing shouted. Xiao Jiang understood and supported himself with his hands against the violent pressure. His supernatural powers flowed rapidly. A huge earth wall rose out of thin air and blocked everyone. Boom! The fireball hit the earth wall and blew a big pit. The battle began in the yellow sand falling all over the sky. Chapter 66 Freshman Welcome Party, Part 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two-headed hellhound spits out 2 fireballs and then rushes straight into the enemy formation. Countless small silver lines fell from the sky and wrapped around its limbs, trying to slow it down. However, those silver lines that can easily tear people into pieces are like inconspicuous old spider webs in the eyes of hellhounds. It completely ignored the existence of the silver lines and sprinted forward at a high speed, leaping over the earth wall and heading towards the crowd. Red tasseled spear stabbed in the air. The two-headed dog had nowhere to rely on in the air, so it directly chose to catch it head-on. It is confident that these little guys cannot break its protective energy. Clang! Hongying's spear broke with a sound, and Xiao Xiaowei released her hands holding the gun in time to avoid the huge counterattack force. 2 groups of black shadows attacked from both sides of the Cerberus. Taking advantage of its unsteady footing to grab at its heart, the 8 puppets' sharp claws stopped the attack. The moment they came into contact with the Cerberus's skin, unable to advance any further, the rhino puppet's attack power was slightly stronger and it barely penetrated the protective energy, but the remaining sprint power was no longer enough to harm the Cerberus at all. It just knocked off a few of its hairs and couldn't cause any more damage. The two heads of the double-headed hellhound turned to both sides, and the violent flames condensed again, and the two puppets would be burned to ashes in the next second. At this moment, Wangxing fell from the sky, and all the supernatural powers in his body converged on his right fist, hitting the Cerberus on the back. The high temperature around Cerberus' body instantly burned his sleeves, and the skin on his arms was also burned with a circle of blisters. Wangxing endured the pain and punched the target's back. In just 2 seconds, he threw a dozen heavy punches, causing ripples in the body-protecting energy on the Cerberus. But that's about it. Although the Cerberus did not suffer any fatal injuries, it was a bit aggrieved to be ridden on the head and beaten wildly like this. It let go of the two puppets around it and turned its head to aim at Wangxing. The demonic power in its body concentrated on the whole body. In an instant, the temperature suddenly increased, and even the air expanded. Wangxing continued to wave his fists desperately as if he didn't see the god of death beckoning. The two-headed dog finished charging up, and flames shot out from its mouth again, but it suddenly felt its feet staggering, and its original aiming direction also shifted slightly. The tongues of fire passed over Wangxing's body, and all the remaining heat of the flames was blocked by a layer of frost, causing no harm to Wangxing at all. One of the two heads of the Cerberus looked at the soles of its feet. The inconspicuous silver lines had become densely entangled at some point. It almost fell down just now. Thanks to it, the other head looked behind Wangxing. The young man with a sword, his body filled with cold energy, was stabbing towards it. The location of the attack was exactly where Wangxing had hit repeatedly before. "Get out of the way!" Guan Shan shouted and activated Wrath of Revenge. The pressure approaching the fourth level gathered on the sword body and passed by Wangxing, stabbed straight into the back of the Cerberus. After Wangxing's repeated attacks, the energy shield there was much weaker than in other locations. Poof! The all-god sword pierced the hard and thick fur of the Cerberus and penetrated into its body. For the first time since the war began, Cerberus was harmed. Boiling blood spurted out from the wound and was instantly melted by the high temperature, producing bursts of mist. Under the pain, the hell dog suddenly became extremely manic. Two huge dog heads roared at the same time. A huge demonic power centered on its body exploded instantly. Guan Shan and Wangxing, who were the closest, were knocked several tens of meters away and fell heavily to the ground. Their lives and deaths were unknown. The shells of the two puppets were also burned, leaving only their incomplete skeletons, which fell apart with a snap sound. The Qiao brothers and sisters, who were a little further away, relied on the earth wall that Qiao Jiang had erected again to block most of the impact. The permeable aftermath also shocked their internal organs, and they spit out 2 mouthfuls of blood at the same time. He Long and Jia Heyun turned around and ran away the moment the countdown ended. Feeling the tragic movement behind them, He Long couldn't help but say, "I told you that if you can't beat this kind of test, you can only run away," but they still don't believe it. "Stop talking, everything over there has been wiped out. It will be our turn soon. Let's run separately." Jia Heyun chose to split up and run away at the end of the main road. He decided to leave his fate to luck. Pity, his luck, very bad. A black shadow silently jumped over his head and blocked him. The body of the hellhound was exuding blazing heat, and its 2 pairs of scarlet vertical pupils were fixed on Jia Heyun's body. The terrifying pressure left him unable to resist at all, and he fell to his knees tremblingly. On normal days, the hellhound might play a cat-paw-mouse game, slowly teasing its prey, but the Cerberus had just been struck by a sword, and it was getting angry. It rushed out in one step and was in front of Jia Heyun in the blink of an eye. Jia Heyun's mind went blank and he didn't know what to do. Fear had destroyed all his sanity, all abilities and dodges were forgotten. He was like an ordinary person, holding his hands up in front of him, closing his eyes tightly, waiting for death to come. Warm blood sprinkled on his face, and Jia Heyun felt his shoulders relax. He opened his eyes carefully, and a severed arm happened to fall in front of him. Jia Heyun's face turned pale, heart-piercing pain followed. Jia Heyun fell to the ground in pain, his whole body twitching with pain. The hellhound did not make up for the blow, but turned its target to another fish that had escaped the net. Hearing the wailing sound coming from behind, He Long was shocked and did not dare to look back at all. He ran desperately, but before he ran a few steps, a burst of intense heat came from behind him. He long knew that the fatal fireball would burn him to ashes in the next second without even looking back. I give up. Save me. Save me. The fireball behind him seemed to have been emptied of air, and it suddenly dissipated amid the boos of the audience. He long staggered 2 steps and knelt on the ground. His back was already soaked with cold sweat. He kept panting and his body was still shaking uncontrollably. Tears had blurred his eyes. He didn't know whether it was because of fear or regret. There was a long silence. His fists hit the ground unwillingly. Why ah. I am also a level 3. Why don't I dare to look back? Why don't I dare to even take a look? Why do they dare to attack such a monster? Aren't they afraid of death? He long kept asking himself why in his heart, but he couldn't find the answer. The hellhound wanted to kill twice but was suppressed by a certain force, and became more irritated. It turned around suddenly and killed back to the Chiao brothers and sisters again. Chapter 67 Freshman Welcome Party, Part 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Headquarters of Jubao Pavilion, in the office of the Pavilion Master on the top floor. If we talk about hiding, it's your brother who hid in the sky as soon as the war started, and then let 2 puppets fight. And Liang Yu's daughter is also a little thief. She followed him to the sky at the first time. A man sat on the Pavilion Master's throne with a swagger, his legs crossed on the wide office desk without any scruples. Google search TWKAN. He had a delicate short hair, every hair seemed to have been carefully groomed, and he was wearing a custom-made black suit, which was well cut and exquisitely made. Judging from his appearance, the man was about 35 years old, with sharp and vicious eyes, 3-dimensional facial features, and a full elite look. Beside the man, Yang Guangxiu, the current Pavilion Master of Jubao Pavilion, stood respectfully. His low-browed and pleasing appearance did not show that he was the helmsman of the world's #1 merchant. My brother's strength is not good enough, so he can only use some tricks. He is definitely not comparable to Mr. Tuesday. Yang Guangxiu's voice was full of flattery. Mr. Tu was the best in the class. Bullshit, when I first entered the school, I was only at the 2nd level. What can I do to him? Seeing that his flattery hit the horse's leg, Yang Guangxiu quickly shut up and didn't dare to say another word. There was a moment of silence. The one who stabbed the hellhound was Guan Shan, right? I remember he was Guan Weilong's son. Tu Lei's voice was a little careless. Is he still there? Yang Guangxiu had heard the implication of Tu Lei's words. Guan Shan should not be there. Mr. Tu, we have tried to bring him back, but there is a venerable standing behind Guanshan, and he is also the agent of Guizhai. We, Jubao Pavilion, really. We can't afford to offend him. Tu Lei turned around, squinted at Yang Guangxiu, and said coldly, Venerable. It's not like we, Symbiosis Society, haven't killed venerables before. The 3-word Symbiosis Society seemed to have some kind of magic. The moment Yang Guangxiu heard it, he lowered his head in fear and swallowed his saliva subconsciously. Tu Lei's fingers tapped lightly on the armrest of the seat. Don't forget who helped you sit in your current position. The Symbiosis Society can help you up, and can change people at any time. I don't care what means you use, Salt Guanshan, do you understand? Yang Guangxiu nodded and said respectfully. Yes, sir. Tu Lei stared at Yang Guangxiu coldly until the latter's legs became a little weak, then he put on a relaxed expression and smiled. Okay, don't be so serious, let's continue watching the welcome party. I miss it so much. So many years have passed. Yang Guangxiu took a deep breath and raised his head, his heart still beating wildly. In front of the 2 of them, on a huge screen, the hellhound had already killed the Chiao brothers and sisters. The enthusiastic air wave curled up Chiao Shaohui's hair, and she and Chiao Jiang looked more like brothers and sisters. Brother! Chiao Shaohui shouted loudly and summoned the spear to face the enemy head-on. Her body was as flexible as a spirit snake. With a tap of her toes, her body jumped lightly, and the spear swung, drawing a sharp arc. The tip of the spear passed through the air, bringing a sharp sound of breaking wind, and approached the enemy's face. The hellhound completely ignored the red tassel spear that attacked from the front. It had already tried it. Among this group of tiny humans, only the boy with the sword could break its defense. The others, they were just fish on the chopping board, and could be killed with a wave of the hand. What the hellhound didn't expect was that Xiao Xiaowei didn't want to wrestle with the spear, but used the spear body as support, and used a clever force, just like pole vaulting, to jump lightly and avoid the fatal blow of the hellhound. Xiao Jiang took advantage of his sister attracting the hellhound's attention and disappeared underground. The hellhound missed and became more irritable. It suddenly became beastly, raised its two huge dog heads, and took a deep breath. Huge fireballs were fired in turn with the dog heads. The field was suddenly bombarded, and huge pits were bombarded. If there were no high-level walkers guarding in front of the audience, a random fireball would kill dozens of onlookers. Xiao Xiaowei evaded between the fireballs flexibly, but was inevitably blown away by the aftermath of the explosion. Xiao Jiang didn't care about being Voldemort anymore. He quickly jumped out of the ground, caught his sister, and ran for his life. Fuck. Little white face. Idiot girl. Are you just standing there watching? Help. Yang Chao, who was circling in the air with the puppet eagle, didn't pay attention to the shouting from below, but Liang Yusen couldn't hold back her temper. Are you stupid? Can't you see we are looking for an opportunity? You yelled so loudly. Are you afraid that the monster doesn't know? You don't have curly hair on your head. Are you the brains that have been smashed and overflowed from your skull? Before Liang Yusen finished her spray, she felt her body shaking, and the falcon above her head suddenly accelerated and circled. She had to hold the silver line in her hand tightly and yelled at Yang Chao at the other end, "Little white face, fly steady." Who said that all good-looking people are little white faces? Yang Chao complained in his heart, but he did not argue. He controlled the falcon to swirl and avoid the attacking fireballs, and consciously flew around the hellhound, letting it spit out fireballs continuously to relieve the pressure of the people below. He had long discovered that on the foggy battlefield, two sneaky figures were about to touch the hellhound. The hellhound's eyes were red, and it kept spitting out fireballs. Just when it had just finished spitting out the previous one and had not recovered its strength, a big hand suddenly hugged one of the dog's heads. Guanshan! Wang Xing shouted, and his supernatural powers were running to the extreme, strangling the hellhound's throat tightly. Guanshan understood and jumped high, so that Liang Yusen could see his position clearly. A thick silver-white silk thread fell from the sky and connected to Guanshan's back spine, and rolling power continued to flow into his body. Guanshan slashed down fiercely, and the terrifying coldness froze the hellhound's limbs. It raised its legs violently and kicked the thin ice, covering it, but was immediately grabbed by a pair of big hands. Xiao Jiang rushed out of the ground with half of his body, firmly grasping the front legs of the hellhound, not letting it move at all. Xiao Xiaowei on the other side also rushed out of the smoke and dust, and the red tassel spear firmly blocked the hellhound's retreat. The amplification effect of the 10,000 Gods sword was activated, sucking Guan Shan's superpowers dry, and even the silver-white silk threads were decomposed and disintegrated. Cut down with a sword, the cold light passed through the body, and the ice exploded. Crack crack crack. The huge dog head of the hellhound could no longer bear the pressure, and pieces collapsed and shattered all over the ground. It's done. Wang Sheng and others were all overjoyed. Just when they were about to make persistent efforts and chop off another dog head, something strange happened. The body of the hellhound expanded rapidly, and the temperature around it suddenly increased. On its remaining head, the scarlet vertical pupils were full of madness. Be careful. It's going to explode. Yang Chao's anxious shout came from the air. Lu Changsheng in the audience stood up excitedly, and his figure flashed and disappeared. Chapter 68 Freshman Welcome Party, End. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Roar. The hellhound raised its head and howled wildly, the hot temperature almost bursting him. In the next second, it would drag these annoying freshmen along with it to be buried with it. Xiao Hei. Calm down. A lazy voice sounded out of thin air. No one saw clearly when the man appeared. All they knew was that he pressed the Cerberus's head with one hand, suppressing the violent energy in an instant. Before Guan Shan could even take a few steps back, he felt that the hellhound had stopped and a slight chill arose in his heart. After a while, I was afraid. Xiao Hei, the time has come, your mission is completed. The man pointed to the big screen behind him, and the countdown had changed to midnight. At some point, the Cerberus whimpered aggrievedly, looking at the broken neck covered with ice for a while, and then looking at the man with tears in his eyes, as if to say, look, look. Look what they did to me. Don't be afraid of that old face. You just lost your head. It will grow back naturally when you make a breakthrough. It's not a big deal, and you won't end up seeking death. The man touched the Cerberus's head and turned around gracefully, a white robe fluttered like flowing clouds, and the skirt swayed gently with his steps, which really gave him an air of immortality. The welcome party for the 197th class of freshmen has concluded successfully. I am your class teacher, Li Yunxian. In the next 4 years, if you don't die midway, I will stay with you. Li Yunxian put one hand behind his back, and the clothes on his body moved automatically without any wind, and he struck a pose that he thought was handsome. Guanshan and others looked at each other. Why was this man speaking with his back to them? In this entrance examination, you will get 1 point of military merit for each ghoul you kill. The battles at the welcome meeting will also give you corresponding rewards in proportion to your efforts. For specific numbers, you can check the military school app. Li Yunxian crossed his hands in front of him and changed his position in the direction of the reporter, without even looking at the students the whole time. Ding dong that the mobile phones of Guanshan and others were all damaged during the battle, and only Liang Yusin and Yang Chao were able to receive the news at this moment. Liang Yusin looked at the military merit details. She had gained 10 military merit points in the battle just now, plus the ghouls killed on the way, for a total of 15 points, but she glanced at Yang Chao's cell phone and saw that he had actually obtained 30 military merit points in the battle, second only to Guanshan's 50. She felt unhappy on the spot. I seriously suspect there is a shady secret here. No, it doesn't matter if he is first on the list, it should be him. Why can the pretty boy be ranked second? Wasn't he paddling the whole time? Your falcon is very interesting. Is it the latest model from the Bureau of Creation? It can even absorb the pressure of 4th-level monsters. I'm afraid it's not cheap, right? Li Yunxian answered the question, but still did not look back, but just changed his posture again. The reporters were also very considerate and took pictures non-stop. Teacher's insight, it is indeed a new product of the Bureau of Creation, and it has not been launched yet. Jubao Pavilion has spent a lot of money on research funding, so I was allowed to experience it in advance. Yang Chao nodded slightly, and although the teacher couldn't see it, he still answered honestly with his hands in hand. Li Yunxian didn't speak, and kept posing for a long time, then turned around and said, "Any more questions?" Liang Yusin snorted, but said nothing more. She did feel a little strange just now, why the Cerberus didn't use coercion to restrict everyone's movements during the battle. It turned out that it wasn't that it couldn't be distracted, but that kid Yang Chao was responsible. Okay, let's wait until you enroll in school to talk about anything else. Today's opportunity is very rare. Come here, let's take a photo together and smile pretty. Your faces will be all over the media today. Headlines. Li Yunxian waved his hand to call everyone over and stared at Guanshan strangely. Why do you look so ugly? Were you injured just now? Guanshan's body was light and he stumbled to the ground, his consciousness gradually losing consciousness. When he was dying, he tremblingly said, Don't be in a hurry, dig a hole. No one quite understood what he meant, and they all turned to Liang Yusin. Liang Yusin shrugged and spread her hands, indicating that she didn't understand either. We originally wanted to give Guanshan 2 sap shots while he was unconscious, but found that something seemed not right. Teacher. Guanshan is out of breath and his heartbeat is gone. He seems dead. Li Yunxuan's eyes almost flew out of their sockets, and he rushed over in 3 steps at a time. Stop shooting. Stop shooting. I'm talking about you. You're still filming. Li Yunxian waved his arms to prevent reporters from filming, and directed the freshmen to surround Guanshan's body. the scene became chaotic for a while. In the corner where no one cared, a figure slowly emerged and returned to the audience. The welcome ceremony for the 197th class of freshmen of the Demon Slayer Military Academy came to an end. Lu Changsheng didn't look at how they dealt with Go Xingzi in the end. Anyway, Go Xingzi's rage of revenge was already at level 3 and he would wake up soon. Even if he was buried, he would most likely be able to break out of the ground on his own. At the moment, he is packing up the moved furniture in the new store. In order to rush to watch the welcome ceremony of Go Xingzi, many things have not been packed yet. Jia, have you kept the letter of introduction that principal he wrote to you? You'll need it when master takes you to enroll tomorrow. Come to think of it, principal he is a really good person. Remember to visit him when you return to Lincheng. Lu Changsheng asked without raising his head. Master, keep it. This urn seems to have been damaged during transportation. It feels like it's going to fall apart. Do you still want it? Gu Jia asked uncertainly, holding a tattered urn. It was originally like that. Throw it away. Master will bring in a new batch in a few days. We are rich now, and those old actors should retire. By the way, did you say goodbye to your classmates when you transferred to another school? Lu Changsheng took the old actors off the stand one by one, carefully wrapped them up, and prepared to keep them. Yes, I did. Gu Jia handed the packaging bag to the master. Zhao Chuan told me that he will be my younger brother for life. Good brothers, see you in the rivers and lakes. Yes, I know this. Being brothers is in the heart. If something happens, the phone can't be reached. Lu Changsheng smiled. Anything else? And Deng Lingling, she told me the most, but I don't quite understand what she meant. Gu Jia stopped the work in her hands, thought for a while, and recalled. What about the 3-year agreement, 30 years in the East, 30 years in the West, don't bully the poor young people, etc. Yes, I know this too. The latter is don't bully the poor middle-aged, don't bully the poor old, and finally the dead are the greatest. Lu Changsheng carefully packed the old actors and carefully picked them up and walked to the warehouse. Master, is this diary yours? Gu Jia found a pile of diaries in a bulging body bag and shouted to the master's back. Who writes a diary? Lu Changsheng's casual voice floated from the warehouse. Gu Jia wanted to throw the diary into the trash bag, but when she flipped through it, a paragraph of text caught her attention. February 18. Today, I dreamed of the black hole again. It was so dark and cold, but it was so familiar. I think I am sick. Let Dr. Niu at the entrance of the village see me tomorrow. Otherwise, I will be worried every time I go to bed, which is not a solution. Chapter 69 Gu Jia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My name is Gu Jia. He is a child that no one wants. I grew up in an orphanage. There were 5 children like me, and I was the youngest. The dean is a good man. She used the death pensions of her husband and son to build a small orphanage to take in homeless children like me. At that time, I was too young to understand the meaning of killed in action and pension. I just thought that the dean was the best person in the world. She always gives us the most delicious food. I never seem to see her eat meat or change new clothes. The dean has to work during the day and always comes back at night. But no matter how tired she is, she always takes time to teach us how to read and write. I was short and couldn't reach the chair, so the dean would hold me and sit on her lap, teaching me one stroke at a time. The dean taught us a lot, she said. You should be useful to society in the future, so that society will not abandon you. She said that before loving others, you must learn to love yourself first. She also said that good people are like hemp poles. When the wind blows, they fall down. But she still hopes that we can be good people. I don't understand why good people are so fragile. The dean, who was obviously such a good person, suddenly collapsed and I could no longer sit on her lap because the dean's wheelchair was not very good and would often get stuck. That day, 2 strange uncles and aunts came to the orphanage. The dean told me that they will be my father and mother from now on. I don't know what mom and dad mean. I only know that the dean doesn't want me anymore. I was so sad and in tears. The dean hugged me tenderly, just like he did when he was a child, and I soon stopped crying, because the dean's body is so cold, so cold. When the dean saw me off, he told me so many things that I no longer remember. Now that I think about it, it's actually only one sentence. Sorry. On the day I left, I kept staring at the dean, but the car was driving so fast. Before I could remember the appearance of the dean, she disappeared around the corner. Mom and Dad took me to a small house, which was a little cold and a little dark. I don't know what the villa looks like, but I think, at least it shouldn't look like this. That night, I didn't sleep, I missed the dean. The next day, Mom and Dad took me to another city. They handed me over to a strange uncle. They told me that I could just call him boss from now on. Mom and Dad counted the bills and left without looking at me again. I don't quite understand. Doesn't the book say that parents all over the world love their children? Does it say in the book, is it wrong? Boss took me to another city and lived with a dozen friends of similar age. Boss taught me a lot of knowledge. For the first time, I learned that if a person is hit in the head by a fist, he will feel dizzy first and then feel pain. For the first time, I learned that when sleeping on the floor, you should not sleep too hard, otherwise you will freeze to death and your body will become very hard. For the first time, I learned that if a person is hit by an iron rod, he will not be able to stand up. If the blow is severe, he will not be able to stand up for the rest of his life. For the first time, I learned that if you bleed too much, you will die. After you die, you will become very cold. For the first time, I learned that people don't need to eat every day. A sour steamed bun can make a person live for a long, long time. The boss is the bad guy. He took us through various cities and taught us how to beg from passers-by and how to say auspicious words to get more money. If one day I get less money, the boss will give me a severe lesson. It really hurts. That day, I returned to my home as usual, and I didn't ask for a penny, because it was so cold. I couldn't stand the cold anymore, so I hid. But that day, the boss was not angry and even brought a bowl of hot tea. He told me, drink this and you won't get beaten in the future. That I was too cold and too thirsty, so I picked up the tea and drank it. So numb, so spicy, so painful. After that day, I could always get money to go home, but I could never speak again. As winter passes and autumn comes, the children in the family have changed a lot. Some froze to death on the roadside, some were beaten so severely by the boss that they never woke up, and some were abducted by other traffickers and disappeared without a trace. Boss took us to many, many cities until the last stop. We came to Lincheng. That day, I returned home as usual, but the boss was gone. The next few days were like this. I think the boss is probably dead. All my friends have slipped away. They can talk and support themselves. I am the only one with nowhere to go. I wandered the streets for a long time. Every time I asked passers-by for help, I was always waved away. No one even bothered to look at me twice. I'm so hungry, so scared. Why on earth did I come to this world? I do not understand. Until I grabbed Master's sleeve. He didn't drive me away, and asked me if I was willing to go with him. That day, I saw light in my eyes. Master is a good person. He bought me beautiful clothes and gave me his favorite pork ribs. I learned how to cover myself with a quilt again. The bed in Changsheng Hall is so warm. Not long after, Gao Shengzi also came. Master told me that I was Gao Shengzi's senior sister and we should get along well in the future, but Gao Shengzi's eyes scared me a little. However, since he is also a child brought back by Master, we should, maybe, get along well. Time in Changsheng Hall passed so quickly. Unconsciously, I have been here for more than a year. In this year or so, I often have the same dream, dreaming of a black curtain that I can't see the end of. I always feel that the black curtain is familiar, but it's so cold. Every time I wake up from a nightmare, Master will rub his eyes and come to see me. As long as I see Master, I am not afraid. Sometimes I still think of the Dean. I really want to tell her. Dean, I found my home. My home is called Changsheng. Dean, I have a junior brother. He is very powerful. Everyone calls him Bang too. Dean, I can speak again. It was my master who cured me. Dean, the boss is dead. It was also my master who did it. Dean, my master is a super powerful person. Dean, I miss you so much. My name is Gu Jia. I am not an unwanted child anymore, not anymore. Chapter 70. It's all fake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 197th Freshman Intelligence. Latest frontline battle report. A fire broke out in the factory of the Bureau of Creation in the southern suburbs of Yaoguang City. It has been extinguished and there are no casualties. Related information about the Bietian sect. Lu Changsheng's fingers kept sliding up and down on the Gu Jia app. Unlike ordinary accounts, Lu Changsheng's intelligence is extremely detailed, and you can also see all the sources of intelligence, credibility assessment, and predictions of the trend of events. Some key intelligence even has 5 or 6 sources of intelligence, which confirm each other and increase stability. Google search TWKAN. If Lu Changsheng wanted to build such an intelligence network by himself, he didn't know how many years it would take, although the group of Gu Jia agents looked wild at first glance. It seemed that becoming an agent was still a very wise choice. Lu Changsheng rubbed his sore eyes. There was still no more information about the Bietian sect today. They were like grasshoppers after autumn, some dead and some disabled, and seemed to be annihilated in the dust of history at any time. The information that occasionally leaked out was nothing more than a lie that the offspring of a certain big shot was involved in a cult, or that he was sacrificing his relatives for the sake of justice. Or a certain senior official was caught on the spot for hiding cultists in his home. Anyway, if there is any dirty water now, it will definitely not be wrong to blame the cult. Lu Changsheng threw away his phone, returned to his room, and lay down. The velvet mattress was really comfortable. Lu Changsheng spread his limbs on the bed and swung happily, temporarily putting the cult behind his mind. Ding. Congratulations to the host. Apprentice number 001 Gu Jia. The Xiantian gong of the equipment has broken through to LV4. The strength of Xiantian gong LV4 is 4 times the demon power. Apprentice number 001 Gu Jia. The equipment's dueling stack has broken through to LV3. The strength of dueling stack LV3 is 20% increase per attack. Host automatically shares progress. Xiantian gong has been upgraded to LV5. The strength of Xiantian gong LV5 is 10 times the demon power. Host automatically shares progress. Dueling stack has been upgraded to LV4. The strength of dueling stack LV4 is 30% increase per attack. A long string of system prompts appeared in front of Lu Changsheng. He suddenly jumped up from the bed, and before he could feel the changes in his body, he rushed to Gu Jia's room in one step. Lu Changsheng had almost figured out the upgrade rules of the system's skills. Skills are easy to practice before LV3, but starting from LV3, the apprentice needs to comprehend and break through by himself, generally. Only when the emotions are extremely excited, or at the moment of life and death, can one go further. But Gu Jia was right beside him. How could anything threaten her life? And the dog system didn't warn him in advance. The more Lu Changsheng thought about it, the more strange it became. He turned on Rage of Revenge and Xintianyu, and rushed into Gu Jia's room in the blink of an eye. Gu Jia sat on the bed, as if sleepwalking. She looked at Lu Changsheng blankly, her eyes empty and numb. Tears slid down the corners of her eyes, dripping onto the clean bedding. Lu Changsheng looked around the room vigilantly, and didn't find anything unusual. Even the annoying cicadas outside the window were silent. Jia, what's wrong with you? Gu Jia heard Lu Changsheng's voice, and her numb eyes slowly brightened up. She cried wow and burst into tears. Lu Changsheng hugged his little apprentice at a loss, patted her back gently, and comforted her softly. Don't be afraid, Jia, Master is by your side. Did you have a nightmare again? Master. I heard strange sounds, saw strange people. Gu Jia's voice was intermittent and trembling. Master, I'm scared. Don't be afraid, Jia, dreams are all fake. With Master here, you don't have to be afraid of anything. Lu Changsheng gently shook Gu Jia like coaxing a child. Are they all fake? Gu Jia slowly raised her head. Her eyes were already red and swollen, and she sniffed from time to time. Well, don't be afraid, Jia. Lu Changsheng hummed a nursery rhyme softly. His tone was not perfect, and he was basically out of tune, but this strange sound was like a heavenly sound in Gu Jia's ears. She slowly calmed down, closed her eyes gently, and there were still tears hanging on her long eyelashes. Comforted for a long time, Gu Jia fell into a deep sleep. Lu Changsheng gently put his apprentice down, covered him with a blanket, and returned to his room. This time, the breakthrough of Xiantian Gong did not have the Surging physical sensation of the previous one, but was like a river entering the sea, silent and continuous. Lu Changsheng waved his hand gently, and a strong wind blew up, rolling up the beautiful floor-length curtains, spinning and flying. Now, even if I don't spend money, I can kill most of the 6th-level walkers with only the Wrath of Vengeance and Xintianyu. Even if they open the shield in advance, I guess they can't stand it. As for the Venerable, first, I will secretly stab you 3 times. If you are not dead, I will explode. As long as you are not a Venerable who specializes in physical enhancement, you will have a chance to kill you with the help of God's Spirit. If you really can't beat it, whether you use Xintianyu to escape or spend money to open it, there is a lot of room for operation. Lu Changsheng was very satisfied with this breakthrough. The feeling of having infinite power at his fingertips was so intoxicating, it was just that the way of this breakthrough was a bit bizarre. How about taking Jia to watch horror movies every night in the future? Or scare her when she is asleep? Or... Lu Changsheng shook his head and gave up these inhumane ideas. His disciple's tearful look just now was really a bit miserable. Anyway, Gu Jia's strength has improved very quickly, so there is no need to force it. With Gu Jia's current strength, if Goshingzi does not use the Wrath of Revenge, it is hard to say whether he can beat her, and she has not awakened yet. When he thought of Gu Jia's strength after becoming an awakener in 3 years, Lu Changsheng couldn't help but sigh. What if she awakened a strengthening ability? The picture would be too beautiful to even think about. There is just one problem that has been bothering Lu Changsheng, and he can't figure it out. Dog system, I am here. Why does the unit of measurement have to be changed to demon after Xiantian Gong LV3? Isn't it better to use humans as a reference? And what unit is demon power? How many people is one demon? Insufficient authority, unable to answer. Damn, Dad, please tell me. Insufficient authority, unable to answer. Thief. Don't be shameless. Insufficient authority, unable to answer. Fuck. Seeing that he couldn't pry open the system's mouth, Lu Changsheng stopped trying and shut down the system with a curse. He came to Gu Jia's room quietly, confirmed again that his apprentice had fallen asleep, and then closed the door and returned to his bedroom. The night wind blew, lifting the pink curtains in Gu Jia's room. It dried the tears on her face. Gu Jia slowly opened her eyes and looked out the window aggrievedly. She whispered softly in her mouth, "It's all fake. It's just a dream. I'm Gu Jia. I'm Lu Changsheng's apprentice. It's all fake. Fake."